Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be starting a new series of Master of Command, a new-ish game recently that came out a couple weeks back by the Armchair Historian Interactive, or Armchair History Interactive, the developers of, or I guess the developer brand version division of the Armchair Historian, a YouTuber who does a lot of like sort of animated history videos on YouTube. This is a real-time tactical combat game. Like, it kind of has a roguelike campaign element where armies march across the map. It's really about building your army to sort of optimize the way you want to fight and then overcoming sort of a boss battle at the end of each individual campaign. Campaigns are made of 3 acts, getting progressively more difficult. We played this a bit on the channel. We did a full campaign playthrough as the Russians, sort of straddling the pre-release build and then a little bit of post-release. But this will be my first playthrough since the game came out. And yeah, we're going to play as the British. I want to know, one of the problems or one of my challenges playing as the Russians was meleeing. You take a lot of casualties. And so I'm hoping, I debated playing as the French, but they kind of specialize, it seems, at least their initial army specializes in melee combat. I think the Prussians are kind of a middle ground blend there, but I figure if I want to try and avoid so much melee combat, if I want to try and, build good veteran units, I'd like to, volley at the enemies and win that way rather than always, ending in a costly hand-to-hand combat. I think that gives me, with my playstyle, the best chance of winning through, because in the Russian campaign we lost in Act 3. And so I think that's the direction we're going to go, and the British are the best force for that. The British force here, British foot regiments here, 35 accuracy, 20 reload is like the best accuracy of any of the starting units. Highland foot's a little bit less. They're kind of the heavies, if you will, if you want to go smash some skulls and you want to do some melee stuff. But the British foot, regular redcoats, if you will. You also do start with cavalry, so you start with 3 regiments, 1 cav, 1 sort of marksman, and 1 sort of more melee-centric under the Highland foot. And then you've got 1 officer, John Maynard Grainsby. Now, the British do gain experience much more slowly than other units, or at least it takes more for you to upgrade them. Units are generally better on a per-unit basis, but it's harder to get a lot of them. They do have good auxiliaries from their Hanover and Hesse claims, because as you may or may not know, the British king for a long time had roots in Germany. I don't even know if they still do, but they actually had, like, Hanover was part of the British crown for a while. I think maybe up to the Napoleonics, but I'm not really sure when that ended. But yeah, you can see here, as it prioritizes its colonial war in North America around the world, William Pitt's government is hesitant to commit soldiers to the fighting in Germany. When these troops finally arrive in the Holy Roman Empire in 1758, they quickly prove themselves and fight with a courage out of proportion to their small numbers. English infantrymen are famous for their devastating firepower. That's the other thing to remember. The 7 Years' War is occurring in Europe while while there's conflict going in North America over Canada between the British and the French. So there's that. You wish they would fix line of sight through trees and pretend water? The pretend water, I will say, is an interesting thing. The way they handle water is like, units seem to slow down when they move through it, but it doesn't seem to get like units wet, I think, maybe? But that was actually similar to the way that Scourge of War handles water. It's like a graphical thing where you see it, but like other than slowing troops down, it really had no tangible effect. You could just walk across it anywhere. Mainly because I think, at least in the case of Scourge of War, which was using a 25-plus-year-old engine at this point, it just didn't have the ability to sort of accurately model, I don't think. All right. Do we do Iron Man? Should we try that? Why not? Why the heck not? Let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to do some butchery. supply wagons are bugged. Are they bugged where you just get like massive amounts of supply? All right, so the British can either fight against, are these the Russians and the Prussians? Or the French? I can't really make that flag out. In the event, let's see. Protect Brandenburg, protect Scotland, that's funny. Reinforce Westphalia. Well, what do I care about? I care about building our army up. So what'll get me the most, the best upgrade? Highland Grenadiers? That's a pretty good unit. Subsidiary Jaegers. I don't know how to use light infantry very well in this game yet. I just get them killed. Or field artillery. Field artillery is important too. They've nerfed artillery a little bit from what it was when we were playing the pre-release build. To get this, we reinforce 4 outposts or secure 4 encampments. I'm going to go with the artillery, just because it's expensive. So we'll protect Brandenburg. We also get a offensive spirit doctrine. I don't really want that, actually. What's the night marches doctrine? Campaign move speed. Neither one of those are things I particularly care about. Sanitary Commission might be interesting, but we're not. We're interested in one of these two. So we're going to go with the Protect Brandenburg. Huh. Okay, extra. I remember my my experience with supply wagons is if I just turtle near the back of the map, they're very useful keeping your artillery in the fight. But maybe they made some changes to it between their pre-release and the release build. All right, so we've got some stuff. Here's the beginning force, 1 brigade of troops. These guys have land-pattern muskets with stock bayonets. We can give them more veterancy gain and more morale if we give them spontoons. It's really just sort of a veterancy bonus. Bagpipes, giving a charge bonus. We'll give those stereotypically to the Highlanders. You know, I don't even know that's stereotypically. It just makes sense. Accuracy and reload. We could give it to the British foot to make them even better, but I actually kind of wonder if giving it to the Scotsmen is actually better, because they're a little bit worse. And I still want to fight generally the same way. So this way they're almost identical accuracy, although the foot are better at reloading. Although we could just give the accuracy bonus to the foot, and then they're gonna, holy cow, 77 accuracy. Reloads at 34 seconds, so they're actually reloading slower if I give them that perk. So if I drop that, then they really reload at 33 versus 32, so almost identical, but the accuracy is insane. And then light saddles can be given to our cavalry. I really miss having artillery. We're gonna have to do that ASAP. You can start, we start with 900 ammo, 350 replacements, 200 provisions, and 400 thalers. One of the other nice things is with this particular army, we get 10 thalers per day. Now, we do have an increased cost for new brigades, but we do gain more money every single day in the campaign. I'm hoping they fix the bugged nature of the timer where enemy armies rallied early against you, but we'll see. 150 days. We'll see if it's 150. It used to be like, it seemed like it was at 100, but we'll go to the supply crate here. So supply cache lies before us. A handful of enemy stragglers stand watch. We can either take their coin and get more money and face a weak detachment, capture their provisions, face a weak detachment, or take their ammo, face a weak detachment. The money is probably the most important thing generally. Maybe provisions because it costs money. I mean, money and ammo both cost money, but we get 10 thalers a day. Still, money, money, money. That's what I want. We're going to face an enemy force of about 2,800. What are they just gonna... Are they gonna retreat? What? Are they trying to run? They are Russians. Cossack cavalry. Frontier recruits. I'm assuming they won't stand up to us very well, but let's fight the battle. Because, you know, an auto-resolve would be nice in really lopsided scenarios, but... I'm curious what everybody thinks, what their impressions of the game are so far. For what it's worth. Alright, so small force. I'm used to playing with massive forces. This is a small one. Enemy right ahead of us. We've got woodland off to our right with a little bit of elevation. I don't know if we can get there before the enemy gets on top of us. I think what we'll do is we'll send the Highland Foot. Be great if we could get there. If we could get them up here on this ridge. And then put the foot infantry here. We'll just stack cavalry up on the flank. I don't know that I want to use cavalry right now. I guess we can use them as light infantry, though, because they do have guns, right? The dragoons do have carbines. I mean, it doesn't have artillery, right? They just have cavalry. Cossacks, which are like light, I assume, but they're intended for melee. They don't really have very good... Oh, did we not order them to move? I thought we did. Yeah, I think the enemy's going to come up on me too fast for me to really do much. I could maybe throw my cavalry out there to delay them, but... They're just... Everybody's so slow in this game to move. And even if I order them into like a column formation, they're still slow. And I get that that is, you know, a symptom of this era of warfare, but it would be more interesting, I think, if units could maneuver a little bit more, or maybe the maps just need to be bigger, because I just feel like you're never going to use most of the maps. The enemy never is going to just deploy on this ridge and sit back and let you come at them, so you never get that side of the map to fight on. I'm curious. If I order my cavalry forward, can I... You know, it'd be nice if I could harass them, like, move forward, fall back, move forward, fall back. The problem is the retreat mechanic in this game. They need a fallback mechanic for light troops. That's what they really need. I probably shouldn't go at their front, because they can turn and shoot pretty quick. Run away! At the double! Ow! Okay, so that was not the most efficient use of my, my boys. Maybe. I did maybe buy us some time, I don't know. They took 23 casualties and inflicted 26. Does the AI always move at the double? It just seems like they're so much faster than me. We're not going to make it onto this ridge, so we'll just deploy here. Also be cool if you could dismount your cavalry. I don't know that they really fought that way in this era, but it would be a little cool thing to do. I suppose if we deployed on their flank, it would be more useful, because then they'd have to turn to face us, which they're much less likely to be able to do in a timely manner. But I'm trying to use my dragoons in a somewhat authentic way. Not going to be able to get up on that ridge line here. We've taken 51 casualties in the Highland Foot already. We haven't even got a volley off yet. Because you also don't shoot till everybody's in line and ready. I'm just bitching about this. I do enjoy this game generally, but the little quibbles... I don't even know where'd the enemy cavalry go? Oh, the dragoons are back there. The enemy retreated off one volley? I mean, I know we did a lot of damage with it, but still. I think they're going to get there before I can reload, boys. I'm going to order my general to charge the enemy cavalry as they retreat. Do we really break him that easy? I suppose the cavalry would be actually worth, as long as your unit doesn't get routed / destroyed, where they can't recover. Using your cavalry with abandon might actually... Oh god, my general just charged right past the front of this enemy regiment. We're trying to pursue this enemy cavalry, we're just riding out this way. Yeah, keep charging, because I don't want you in range of that enemy infantry to take another volley. But the general troops don't, like, they just get free replacements, I think. So they're more of like, just don't take losses you can't replace because that you can't afford in the battle is what I mean. This is a weird battle. The icon, the clock thing toggles volley fire. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess I didn't realize that, but should have used that when the enemy was coming up and my boys were trying to get into position. Can you do another volley here on these boys and then maybe charge them? At least I didn't take too many casualties. Charge into the retreating recruits while you're shooting at them. There you go. That charge did some damage. I don't think the enemy's coming from back from that. And usually when they're retreating, they don't do much in the way of damage to your troops. Alright, the only unit's shattered. My dragoons can come over here. I don't want you to charge. I just want you to... Alright, we could try to eliminate the rest of those troops, but I don't know that it matters. I don't actually know if that influences casualties taken. Like, prisoners taken. Dragoons! Fire! Are these guys actually in range here? Volley fire! For king and country! Easy first win, as it's supposed to be. That's intended kind of as a tutorial battle. Alright, $185. Wow, we captured a lot of loot. We got some for artillery we don't have, canteens, large canteens, wooden stakes, so we can impale our men or use them as earthworks. Potsdam muskets and blanket rolls. That's a lot of stuff. We lost 207 men. We can either recruit troops and get 10% of our losses back, so that would give us 27 men, or 20... Can I do math? 20... That's not even 21, but 20 men back, maybe 21. Plus 461, which should obviously more than cover our losses. Alternatively, we could go for veterancy and provisions, or we could go for dollars and ammo. I'm going to go for veterancy and provisions. 1, provisions are the lowest thing we have right now. 2, veterancy, getting our units experience up is really important to be able to compete later. So in a battle like this where I can easily absorb the losses, I think exchange is important so we can get that veterancy up. So all of those units get promoted. Go ahead and use our replacements. Everything back up to full strength. The infantry here, we can give them canteens. They move slower. Alternatively, the basic the large canteens are worse. I mean, they give you more stamina, but they slow you down. I'd rather the basic canteen and not suffer the penalty. I suppose the speed might be less important for the dragoons. Maybe it's more important for them. I don't know. And then we'll give wooden stakes. We'll give these emplacements to this infantry here. Sharpen logs, drive into the ground to slow cavalry and channel infantry. Quick to place, surprisingly effective when time is short. Cover base and charge resistance for our boys. Potsdam. It's a good musket. Or it's decent. What's our... are these... the Highland Foot's using good weapons too? They're both using... So the British would start out much better equipped. Alright, we'll keep that stuff. This canteen, I could take it or leave it. Alright, so we need to go to our first town. which is Perleberg. It has good supplies. Again, secure 4 encampments is sort of priority 1. There's an encampment right up here. But before we do that, let's go to Perleberg and see what's here. So there's a barracks. In theory, we could buy a new unit. If we wanted to go with Redcoat recruits, they will upgrade eventually to British Foot. If we take a look at the upgrade path, you can see they go to British Foot, Highland Foot, or British Provincial, Cavalry, or Artillery. Probably take them to British Foot. It would be the direction we'd go. Alternatively, Brunswick muskets. So the British Foot here, the Redcoat recruits, accuracy's 41. Actually, the Brunswick musketeers are pretty darn accurate here, 45. The reload time is even better. What is? Oh, well, there's a reason they're $200 more expensive. What do they upgrade to? So these guys are already the level 2, so their next route would be subsidy Jaegers. Are these guys light infantry then? No, they're not. They're just better shooters. Then we get subsidy artillery or Redcoat recruits. I'm generally inclined to go with the Redcoat recruits now because we can more easily absorb bad troops now than later. So get them cheap and then upgrade them. I think that's where my head's at. Let's go ahead and sell the large canteens. I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I should sell something, right? Maybe I don't need to. The only problem with the Redcoat recruits is I've got to replace all their stuff. Whereas the Brunswicks, which I don't have enough money for, but if I sold a canteen or something, I would start with better equipment. But we'll just go with artillery, actually. So let's get to 677. I want an artillery battery. I'll have to sell the guns and the canteens, I think, to get me there. We'll round the battery out with artillery, or the brigade out with artillery. So there you go. Artillery battery, cheap 3-pound gun, but it's a start. It's a start. No real money for anything else. We probably want more recruits more immediately. We should use the... Oh, they come with canister rounds? Okay. Not sure that's something I care a whole lot about, but... Attrition and melee damage received being less is probably good for cavalry. Alright, I think that's it for now. We'll need to build a new brigade here shortly, but let's go ahead and send these troops to the encampment. See what's ahead of us. Canister does seem underwhelming. Alright, so we can either construct sturdier transports, which would require 60 thalers. We can do cross now with improvised RAS. That's a very low chance. I don't want a moderate chance. I want a good chance. So let's see here. Where is the rest? So there's a much bigger town to the south here with cheaper recruits and infantry regiments, I'm assuming. Convoys are up here. There's 2 convoys within easy reach. Thank you for the resub, Stein. Let's go up to one of the convoys. We'll come back to the encampment, because we're probably going to come back to that town on the southern edge. There's actually 3 convoys within easy reach. I'm not super high on the objective for the convoys, but... Right, heavily guarded. Face a weak enemy field army. Set it ablaze. Enemy HQ is delayed by a week. I'll take the delay. And that's 1 of 5 convoys. So we can either take their gold, shake them down aggressively. So either get 130 thalers and face an enemy army, or take what we can and leave. At this stage, with a small force that's relatively easy to replace, let's face a weak enemy field army. Oh my god. When it said weak enemy field army, I didn't realize it meant 7,000 troops. I mean, I know field army is bigger than a detachment, I guess. So maybe we only qualify as a detachment, but dear lord. They're all recruits. Maybe they'll break easy like the previous army? More fights equals better. You're wrong, Chris. Bad. Bad, Chris. I need those thalers so I can raise a new brigade and actually fight these guys on more equal footing. Butchering my own men. Alright, so... the fake stream... I don't really know if it's fake, but this is like open ground. I don't want to face them here. There's nowhere to... there's like this over here, but it's not really a defensible position. This nice little ridgeline here would be great if we could get to it. But getting in cover would be great. No, I could do. The Highland troops do have their earthworks. The British foot can just get up on this hill. So here's what we'll do. Move the artillery up here. The British foot will deploy to move up on the hill. The Highland foot have already got some cover. Granted, it's not a lot, but it's some. They'll deploy to the right of the hill. Dragoons will hang out here on the left, maybe go harass the enemy a bit. And then our general will hang here. My real hope here is, even though they outnumber me 2-1, is that my troops can break the enemy. Like, we broke some of those enemy regiments in that last fight really easy. And I don't know if it's just because it's the sort of the tutorial fight or if it's other reasons, but it would be nice to be able to try and do that again. Just wear them down, pick them off regiment by regiment. We can try to use our dragoons to that effect. Embark. Artillery's shot long, maybe? I didn't do any damage at that initial volley. Is this a hill? Kind of looks like one. Okay. These guys are on high ground, which give them an advantage. Shooting at the Fusiliers, which are their best troops, with our artillery to try and weaken them a bit, and do some morale damage maybe. At least they don't have any artillery. That's always the bane of my existence, is when the enemy has more guns. Sometimes the enemy lines look like they're stationary, but they ain't. They are moving toward us. With the amount of accuracy, British shatter enemy troops pretty quick, or recruits pretty quick. That's good. Well, hopefully we do that. While our artillery takes a little bit of push out of these Fusiliers. Their regiments are much larger. 1,600, 1,400, 1,600 men. Mine are 1,200. Not very good cover here, only 29%, but it's better than nothing. Granted, the enemy is going to be in this wood line too, so they'll have cover. Did you switch your fire? Why would you do that? Hey, AI, my recommendation to you is to pick one target and wear it down. I know you did a little bit better on that one shot, but let's shoot at those guys. Let's keep our fire concentrated on one target to do the most damage we can against it. If this river mattered, I think the river does something. I think it does slow them down or tire them, maybe. But when someone said fake rivers, did you just mean that you can ford everywhere? There you go, boys. The enemy's gonna form up and shoot at you. Ow! Well, I don't particularly want to take fire like that. Got nothing on that volley of artillery? Run away! Get out of there before they can shoot at you again. That's the light infantry way. I think we at least manage that. Now we'll try and pivot and then fire into their flank when they come at our infantry. They definitely nerfed artillery. These are small and inexperienced guns, but they definitely nerfed artillery. Alright, light dragoons sit there. Enemy has dragoons too. That volley could have waited till they were a little closer. 67 casualties done by it. The Fusiliers are the concern, I think. They're the ones who are gonna... Oh, they're shooting at me and I'm not even shooting at them? Well, shit, they got better range? Are they on higher ground? I don't understand. Alright, we'll move forward, because I can't just take casualties. I know we're going to lose the cover bonus, but... There we go. First enemy recruit there is retreating. In theory, we're enfilading this Fusilier line. Okay, actually, just place those stakes as soon as they move. Okay. I don't know if we really want to charge these guys. They outnumber us heavily. My dragoons are shattered. The Fusiliers, I assume, will stand and fight a little bit better. They do have artillery hitting them. We've caught up a little bit on casualties from musketry. Well, I don't want to have infantry charging cavalry, but it is what it is. The enemy will probably break pretty quick. No. I don't want you charging the enemy. Get back into position. Alright, so we drove the enemy cavalry back pretty easily. Alright, so our Highland Foot have taken a bit of a beating, but they are starting to get the better of the enemy troops in front of them. The artillery's doing some damage, 150 casualties inflicted. The British foot are the heroes so far, 400 casualties inflicted, only 47 taken. Oh, it's our muskets. The land patterns are short range. Some of these French Fusiliers are hanging out here. The Royal recruits are ready to run, though. Dragoons have rallied. Wheel and fire on them. You're going to be nearly reloaded before they get to you. So, Royal recruits are retreating. I can also order my general to charge into their flank, but I want to get their numbers down a little bit more. Volley fire is really good for morale, so I'd like to hold out for that if we can. There we go. Enemy's done there. Good job, Scotsman. Did the Dragoons rally? They're still on the map. Good job, boys. I thought you would have been gone by now. Well, I'm very proud of you. My experience with the Russians was like, once you rout once, most of them are gone. Okay. Still got the high ground advantage with these British foot. The artillery's doing better damage, not the enemy's standing and fighting in a closer range. We could probably speed this fight up a little bit. Okay. Highland foot's morale's at 30. British foot's morale's still very good. Alright, the Fusiliers are retreating. I'd like to have my general, or my cavalry, charge the enemy. Can you guys, like, come up here? I ordered you to attack me. You're just sitting back there. There we go. Just had to rout that one remaining regiment. That's a victory. The Russian campaign cured me of wanting glorious charges at the end of every fight. 340 collars taken. We also captured a whole bunch of stuff. Charlevilles. I like Charlevilles, although they're slower reloads. We took almost 800 casualties. That's kind of a lot. I could go with a big chunk of veterancy and more provisions. I could go with reservists, which I need, frankly, to replace my losses. So maybe we go with that one. 1,400 reservists is a lot. Double the losses we took. So that'll, like, carry over to the next fight. So we'll do that. Most of my troops get promoted anyway, based on the veterancy they gain from that particular fight. Okay. So we still got 800 reservists. What's this? I don't have a lot of slot. I mean, I could spend some. Yeah, captured uniforms have to be sold. Morale, damage received. I'm gonna do this for... Oh, I want to do it for artillery. I feel like artillery is always low morale. Less ammo consumption for the artillery, maybe? I very rarely run out of ammo with my infantry. Better morale. Those Highland troops' morale was a little bit lower than the British foot, but now it's nearly equal. Is the Charlotte? I thought the Charlotte 23%, 20. The Neustadt seems generally better than the Charleville. Charleville's got a little bit better accuracy and a little bit longer range. And a little bit better reload, but to me, like, the melee and whatever is not, like, that's not even close. I don't know. I don't want to spend another 50 gold on opening up for any of the stuff I have right now. Let's go get that last convoy. Hopefully we can avoid fighting another battle like we just did, but since I'm already on this part of the map. So I can get an extra 30 thalers and fight another battle like that? But my army's not fully recovered, so I'll just take the thalers and go. What's up here? Stolen cattle provisions are more expensive. Let's just get on the road. Let's go to Gusto and get on the road. Alright, so we've got to sell these stolen uniforms, or captured uniforms. I'll keep the other stuff for now. 770, how much is a unit? Whoa! British Light Dragoons are $1,000. Redcoat recruits are still 400. British foot is 750. I could do that, but I don't have the money then to raise a new brigade. So let's do this first. Let's form a new brigade, which we need because I don't have any room for more regiments. I don't have any officers, but we'll have to, that you can still do it. And then with 400 left, I think we just do a recruit unit here. Put them in there, so they're raw, they're green, but it's 1,200 troops. We can give them... I'd give them the Charleville. It's got a better accuracy, slightly better range, slightly better reload. That was good at melee, though. Rookies might actually be better. Let's give them the Neustadt. And then we'll give them the large cartridge box and the large haversack. Right, this needs to be sold, the worn muskets, because there's no reason to keep that. It's only 12 gold anyway. Okay. So there you go with that. If we get out of here, there's a outpost over here, which I'm a little worried that's going to trigger a fight. 4,100 troops is a little better than where we were at before. What's this outpost got? There's a patrolling army. Forlorn Hope. Expend 150 ammo. Delay the enemy headquarter by 2 weeks. Delay by 1 week. Or get... I don't need the 400 recruits. I need the time. 40 extra ammo for an extra whole week is worth it, I think. So we get 2 more weeks. So we've got another almost 150. We're almost at the starting point of this campaign. Because the way I view it is Act 1 is your opportunity to build your army to the greatest extent. Because by the time you get to Act 2, conditions have started to change. And you are not in as good of a position to replace losses easily. Wounded noblemen. Moderate chance to rescue a level 1 officer. I mean, either of these choices doesn't... They're both moderate. Looks like we didn't get them, I'm guessing. I would like another officer. If they're retreating from me, I should probably fight them, right? They do have artillery, which is a little bit annoying. But recruits. So they've got some observation recruits, and then which are their counter marksmen, and then 3 surf recruit units. So yeah, let's do that. Let's fight them. They outnumber us by about 2,000, but again, as we saw in the last fight, that may not matter. Let's get some experience, some gold, and go into that town maybe. Hopefully we don't lose more than 800 men, and we can just use the recruits we have on hand, and then we can just take veterancy. I need the provisions, though, so whatever for that. All right, let's put the artillery over here by this hill, unless there's another hill to deploy on. I don't see one. Not within reach. Redcoat recruits, we're going to put you guys in this wood line here. Probably won't even fight there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Artillery, get up there. British foot. Deploy across the face of this hill, I guess. It's not really an ideally shaped hill either. Alright, so here's the plan. Highland foot to the left flank. British foot across the sort of nub of this hill. Everything in support of this artillery battery, which will have the advantage of being on the high ground. Light dragoons to the right if they try and go around this river to flank us. Oh yeah, there's definitely a move speed penalty when you get on rivers. For sure. And then the redcoat recruits are here on the flank if the enemy tries to go around the hill. Also, they can come up and hit the enemy if the enemy leaves their flank exposed, or as they start getting close to the Highland foot, they'll be at the extreme range, so they shouldn't take too many losses. I guess they're recruits, so maybe we shouldn't care as much about their losses, but... Enemy artillery at extreme range. Are they forming up all the way out here? They're field artillery, though, so they're probably better. I don't know how big their guns are, but they're much better experience-wise. They did 28 casualties worth of damage to the foot already. They also did 3 casualties to me. Oh god, they targeted my general? Well, that would be the smart target, I guess, if your intention is to win a battle, because if the general routes... Whoosh. But he's just targeting the British foot. It's just the spread of balls did damage, so that was kind of cool. I do think that's a nice little feature where your shells can hit who you're not shooting at. Was Battle Plan not that interesting, Red Rover? No, I didn't say that. I felt like playing this. I hadn't played it in a while. Are they gonna really target my artillery? I wanted to change of pace. We'll come back to Battle Plan for sure. Okay. We're hitting the observation troops, which are kind of their their marksmen. The serfs are not, and those are the 3 battalions moving forward on the left. Let's speed things along a little bit. We don't need to sit on like ×1 speed this whole time. We've taken 66. We have inflicted more than we've suffered from artillery. Which I would hope, given we've got the high ground. Not much more, though. Those foot troops are taking some losses. Once the battle is joined and infantry starts shooting, we will slow things back down. How much ammo do we have left on the artillery battery? 77%. Alright, so they're firing into their flank now, almost, kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit. 156 casualties inflicted. We've lost 130. Okay. Highland Foots refuse their line a little bit. British regulars are... I don't know why I'm calling them regulars, but the British foot They're accurate as hell. Almost 100 casualties inflicted by their second volley. I don't know if this artillery is gonna, like, if the enemy, the further the enemy moves off to the right, the more their flank is exposed to these round shot firing down their lines. And the enemy, again, they're moving through the river, which slows them down. It wins them. It doesn't, like, require they cross at bridges. So I assume that when people are saying the game's water is broken, that's what they mean. Highland Foot just fired a volley at these serfs as they're coming up. I don't think these surf recruits are going to hold up long under this volley fire. Observation recruits are, in theory, they're better troops. The artillery is what gives them their best chance, but they're down to 1,100. I don't like that my dragoons are going to take a volley to the face from 3 times as many muskets as they have. First volley against the Highlanders. Can they keep their cover and move out a little bit? Maybe a little bit. Alright, Highlanders are up against 2 regiments. British foot are against 1. The Dragoons are in some cover here, and some nice covers. 65%. This fence line actually might do them some good here. Carbines also, I think, reload much quicker. I think there'd be more oh, never mind. That volley hurt him. I think there'd be more opportunity for deep thought. I don't want you counter-battering. I want you shooting the enemy artillery that's, like, right in front of you. Are you out of ammo? So, why are you not... Oh, God. Maybe that's why you don't give them your flank. Just fire those balls right down the line of artillery. But that's you're enfilading the enemy infantry. I want you shooting at them. Alright, the enemy infantry, these guys got shattered. So we're going to turn and break the observations flank. Highland Foot is taking some damage here. But, like, I can't imagine the observation recruits are going to stand more than a volley or 2 of these British foot as they get into position here. They've already taken over 300 casualties to artillery. A rippling volley. They're going toe-to-toe with... Yeah, they're done. 1 volley is all it took. We're going to move our general off to try and get those guns, because I don't know if the enemy will break before the guns get into action. But there's only 1 regiment of enemy troops left that are combat effective. I think there'd be more opportunity for deep thought and tactical combat if the AI wasn't programmed to always come right at you. And if, like, units, if there was time, or maybe the setup had bigger boxes where you could deploy on favorable ground more regularly. As it's structured right now, it is very much alright, just come at the enemy, turtle, or whatever, but, like, it's not the deepest of games in that way. Alright, light dragoons are going after the retreating troops. My general rode through the lines of these enemy troops, which are shattered and running, to try and get to the guns. I'm worried they're going to get a volley off before I can get in there. They are. They didn't even shoot at me, huh? They shot over my head? Charge of the general! There you go. Broke them. End battle. Alright, $240. Bunch more captured shit. We lost 600 men. We've got 800 in reserve, so I don't need to do that. Although I could keep building my reserve a little bit if I do that. We can go with the gold and ammo, which is probably going to be relevant soon, but I think first things first, let's get our troops some experience. Especially since we've got recruits who are now upgraded and promoted at least once. There goes all of the ammo, although everybody's at full, well, not quite, but close. And then the recruits. So we got our recruits back. We'll go to Lubben, and then we'll go to this encampment up here, because you have to secure 4 of them. All right, so 340 gold to have another regiment. Hanoverian land mills with their little clover leaves and their hats. What do they upgrade to? Is that a specialist unit or Hanoverian foot? No. What is their... I mean, I don't have anywhere to... Actually, I almost do have enough gold. 36 accuracy. I mean... Also go for another artillery battery. I don't have 600 gold. Silver Gorget, sell that. Is it 200? But okay. There we go. I need more ammo too. But that gives me up to 400. I don't have enough. I need another 100. What weapon do the Hanoverian they have worn muskets? That's not good. I'm not going to do anything that hurts their accuracy is not something I will sign up for. Let's get rid of the Potsdam. And I guess get rid of the haversack. I think we're still a little short. Oh no, we have enough. Okay. So it gives us another regiment here in the 2nd Brigade. Alright, we got a little bit of gold left. I don't know, it's not enough to buy ammo though. Let's equip these guys with the Charlevilles. Sell the worn muskets. Still not enough for ammo. In any event. Oh, we can also upgrade the 1st Brigade. Give them a trait. I don't want anything that hurts cover. This is like all good except I don't have grenadiers or grenades, but it might be useful eventually. There's no downside to it. Let's go up to this encampment here. Maybe secure our 1st, and then I've got a convoy down here. I got sucked up to the north, and now I feel like I'm stuck here. Sturdier transports 1 day, $70. Okay. We capture 154, oh my goodness, 1,540 reservists and 2 weapons. That is great luck. Hussars and yelping muskets. I could probably sell one of these, but let's go to the camp here. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for today's episode of Master of Command, our brand new series playing as the British. We'll pick this up next time Until then, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you very much for watching, and I'm out.